Thank you very much, Alessandro, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests and friends. Well, it's not easy to speak after such a powerful words, both by Cardinal Parolin and Undersecretary Mantovano. I will share with you a presentation that will help me to focus on the different findings of our report. As you can easily understand by the volume of our book, our report, it's indeed a teamwork and a collective effort, and this is also an occasion for me to thank all my colleagues who helped me in writing this report. I will go very briefly because Article 18, as was rightly remembered several times during our first session, and this is a xylograph by Ottavio Roach, and you can see it in Geneva at the Human Rights Council. And I just wanted to start with it to remember, as was remembered many times before, religious freedom is a right, and so it's enshrined in the Article 18, and we should keep reminding ourselves this. But yet, unfortunately, as our report is showing in 25 years, the trends of religious freedom continue to get worse. Our report is assessing in 196 countries the situation in a time frame between 2023 and 2024, considering different violations of religious freedom. Let me briefly explain how we do assess the situation. We divide the different countries in three main categories. There's first category is the category of persecution, and in this category include countries that face serious and repeated violence or harassment, and people are suffering this only because of their faith. This persecution, we will see later, will come from different drivers. But this is the worst category that we have. Then there's the category of discrimination. And in these countries we consider of discrimination, there are groups, religious groups targeted by unfair law or practices. Of course, the situation is quite different from one country to another, but we can include this country in one category. And then there is a third group, which are the countries under observation. In this country, the situation is not yet a situation of persecution, but we can see early warning signs that suggest that we should have a close look and watch closely these countries. All of the other countries we consider to be compliant. So here you can have a look at the word. The red countries are the countries of persecution, and orange countries are the countries of discrimination. Under observation countries, you can see it. You all received our executive report, and they are identified with a magnifying glass in the different regional analysis map. In the countries of persecution are 24 countries, and there 4.1 billion people live, and they are potentially exposed to persecution. And discrimination is in 38 countries where 1.3 billion of people live. And then the country under observation are 24. But then I I'll go so that we can save some time. In many countries, religious freedom is not granted by law, at least in 31 countries. In 50 countries, the law is equal on paper, but not in practice. There are laws that are not enforced, and justice is not granted. In 34 countries, people are not free to change their religion, and we know that this is one fundamental part of religious freedom enshrined by Article 18. And in 53 countries, there is a strong social pressure that causes discrimination or persecution, despite neutral laws. Who is persecuting and discriminating religious groups? We identified 4 different drivers. And as you can see, in 52 of these countries, the religious persecution or discrimination is caused by authoritarian government. In this country, these governments are seeing the faith as a threat to their power. And these countries are from Latin America to Asia, and here you can see that churches are shut down, religious education is both prevented or banned. Entire villages are renamed to erase religious identity. One example we can do is, of course, North Korea, where the regime criminalizes all belief, punishing worship with imprisonment, torture, or even execution. But there are other examples, for instance, in Nicaragua, where the government has taken extreme measures to silence the church. A religious group have lost their legal status, public worship and religious processions are being banned. Another driver of religious persecution and discrimination are jihadism. And of course, in the latest year, we have seen jihadist group and extremist group to evolve, adapt to the different situation, and gaining more power. Africa, and especially the region of Sahel, is one of the most affected areas. Yeah. In Burkina Faso alone, there were many attacks. You will find at the entrance a country report done by Aid to the Church in Need documenting this fact. And then there are many other countries, Mali, Niger, and in these countries, the jihadist groups exploit the state fragility, and it's targeted not only Christian but also Muslim who are opposing to their ideology. Another causes for religious persecution and discrimination is the so-called ethno-religious nationalism. It's a form of nationalism in which a shared ethnic origin and religious identity become the main sources for national belonging. So the religion is used to define what it means to belong with this country, excluding all the different minorities or even oppressing them. One example is India, where there is a combination of both legal restriction and mob violence that led to many attacks. Only in 2024, there were 800 attacks against Christians. We call it that hybrid persecution because it's a joint effort between what it's a persecution done by authorities, but also at the social level. Then, sorry, we have some problems in displaying the slides, but one of the emerging trends is also how is organized crime affecting in different areas of the world, is affecting faith. And one can think that this is not related to faith, but in countries where priests, nuns are kidnapped, killed, or silenced because they defend the poor, they denounce the violence, or simply provide hope where criminal power dominates, their faith became a threat. In many regions, the church is the last moral authority standing. And so even if organized crime does not oppose religions per se, it often attacks religious freedom precisely because of the role they play in upholding human dignity and resisting corruption. Here you can find the numbers and see how this phenomenon is really broad at a worldwide level. And I like to just show, we will talk about later on during the day, this is a funeral of a priest killed in Mexico. And unfortunately, it's not a single case, but there are many. Religious freedom is also suffering because of the war. And even in the case, even if war are not driven by religions, they often create the environments where faith communities become easy target, whether because of their perceived political affiliation, their ethnic identity, or simply because their moral voice is seized as an inconvenient. We can name different countries where this is happening, of course, from Ukraine to Gaza, from the Sahel to Syria. And in these areas, religious freedom is strongly affected by the war. But also, as we will see today, especially in the afternoon, not only in the context of war or with the authoritarian governments, the faith is suffering, because also in so-called Western countries, we can see that the faith is attacked. Religious symbols are vandalized, churches are burned. You can see here one church in France. In France, we had 1,000 anti-Christian incidents in 2023, and 90% of these were regarding churches. We have also new areas of persecution, and in this report, and particularly in the executive summary, there is a very, very interesting article by José Luis Bazán, who is also with us today, and we'll talk about later on artificial intelligence. Of course, artificial intelligence is part of our life. We cannot exclude it from our life, and it's a powerful tool, but as all the powerful tools can also be manipulated and abused and used improperly. And it's a powerful tool for the government who wants to control religious groups. For instance, in North Korea, they report that the phones automatically send a screenshot to the state every 5 minutes documenting what people is looking on their social media. But also, artificial intelligence is used to create fake news and fake videos of religious leaders spreading wrong messages. And this is something that, of course, requires our attention in order to not use this new and powerful tool improperly. Also, in our report, we wanted to get a focus on religious persecution and discrimination as a driver for migration. We often forget that there are many people, millions of people fleeing because they are persecuted. They abandon their home because their rights are not granted they are attacked. Just think about what is happening in some areas of the Sahel in Africa, where entire communities are fleeing, and they are both seeking refuge in other countries or internally displaced because of the violence. Of course, we don't want to see only the negative side, although it's unfortunately quite broad. But we wanted in our report also to document some seeds of hope, and this is why you will find, for instance, an article on the really strong and active role of the church in Cabo Delgado, Mozambique, a province strongly affected by jihadism, where church and religious leaders of other religions are promoting interreligious dialogue. And also, one seed of hope is the education, because only through education we can promote a culture of coexistence and promoting religious freedom. So, this is some findings. It's not easy to get a summary of such an extensive report, but I would like to say that this report is more than a report. It's, for us, it's a wake-up call. As the Holy Father said, it bears witness, it gives voice to the voiceless, and it is also for us, it is inviting us to be informed, to inform others, but also to engage, because religious freedom is a fundamental right, but it's not only a right, it's a shared responsibility. Thank you.